perfect topic for this speech, something that would blow you all away, but nothing seemed to fit. I was getting so angry because I couldn't figure out why nothing seemed right. I think I found the answer. I couldn't think of the perfect topic for this speech because I never expected to be giving it. The thought of being at my own high school graduation was almost impossible for me. Yeah, I would talk about this day with my friends, but I never believed that it was only 2 months, 1 month, a week, a day away. It always seemed so distant. But here it is, and here I am standing on stage giving a speech. So please, look at me and look at my class. We're dressed the same for the first time ever in these ridiculous gowns and crazy hats. We weren't expecting this to come so fast. It definitely snuck up on us. These past 13 years of schooling has gone by more quickly than I would have thought. I look back and I can remember my first day at Canyon Township Elementary School. I had the worst cold in the world and I was wearing some dorky dress my mom picked out. Time slipped past me. From snowflake dances to sleepovers, prom night to dating, the class trip to graduation, my class and I have had the opportunity to make some fantastic memories. Throughout the years, I have gathered thousands of them, whether they be good, bad, funny, embarrassing, or even sad. With these unforgettable memories, and other things of course, my class and I have grown and we have learned a lot. Some of the most important things we learned is that the opposite sex really isn't that bad. We learned to drive, we learned how to deal and cope with things that don't go our way, and we learned to have fun. With these things, we now have our own bright futures ahead of us. I say our own because we aren't a group anymore. We are all headed in different directions, so all we can be is ourselves. Although it is kind of scary that we are on our own now, I know we will excel. The class of 2008 has the strongest group of teenagers I know. Nothing has or ever will be able to hold us back or bring us down. We are an ambitious group. Future nurses, teachers, weatherwomen, businessmen, lawyers, and doctors are what we are striving to become. All of you in the audience are probably thinking, are you ready, class of 2008? On behalf of the entire graduating class, I am here to say that yes, we are ready. We have terrific teachers, outstanding friends, and loving families that have guided us to where we stand today. Our teachers have put everything into our education. They are the ones who believed in us when we couldn't believe in ourselves. They always knew our true potential. It is now time for the class of 2008 to believe in them. We're going to walk into the futures with our heads held high, trusting the knowledge they have shared with us. Mr. Spencer, Mr. Washabaugh, Mrs. Miles, and everyone else who has ever taught me has given me the courage to move forward. They have inspired me and the whole class to be the best we can possibly be. My friends have also been great inspirations. They have always encouraged me to keep moving ahead and to try even harder than I already do. Although my teachers and friends have inspired me, my biggest inspiration comes from home. I remember my mom saying to me a few years ago, Christina, you're the best chance I have that one of my children becomes a valedictorian. Before that day, I had never even thought about my potential, not even for a second. But after that, it was constantly running through my head. I wanted to be the best. Not only did I want it for myself, but I wanted it for her as well. I wanted to make her proud. I may have fallen the slightest bit short of my goal, but I am nowhere near disappointed, and I know my mom isn't either. She is the one who has inspired me to be the best I can possibly be, and for that I thank her. I love you, Mom. You have unknowingly guided me to where I am standing right now. Someone special or several special people have guided every member of the 2008 class here. From these people, we have gained everything. Our well-rounded personalities, outstanding education, manners, and social skills. We are ready to move on into the real world. It is now our time to go, just like it's time for last year's graduating class, and will be time for next year's graduating class.
Okay, before I give my speech, I'd just like to say that I may have passed public speaking with a high grade, but I'm still nervous right now. Parents, teachers, friends, and classmates, I would like to welcome you to one of the most important days of our lives, graduation day. This is a day I never thought would come. It always seemed like it was lurking forever in the distance and never getting any closer. Who among us actually thought we'd reach the day when we all turn our tassels and walk out these doors, maybe even forever? I know I never did. But since we have reached that day, I think it's time to look back on some of the things that have made us who we are today and who we will be in the future. 7th grade was our first challenge. We came in thinking we knew it all, but were quickly reminded how little we did know. Personally, I spent the first week of school following around anyone I thought looked like they knew where to go. Looking back, it's hard to believe we ever thought this school was hard to get around. Next came 8th grade. We were no longer at the bottom of the barrel, but we were still close. This year we started to get familiar with the things around us, and our lives started to change. We started to grow up. At least that's what we thought at the time. Then there was 9th grade. Finally, we made it to high school. We were on our way. We knew what we were talking about and didn't need anyone to tell us what to do. Except we still did need help. Then came 10th grade. Now people were talking to us about our future and about college. We were all thinking, college is years away. It doesn't matter yet. Little did we know, graduation day was a lot closer than it seemed. Junior year. The year of prom decorating and almost being seniors. Once again, we were back to thinking we knew everything. But at this point, we had classes like chemistry, physics, and trig to remind us just how little we did know. Then came the SATs. We knew they were necessary for college, but that still seemed a long time away. Some of us got lucky and didn't have to take them, or got our perfect scores the first time. The rest of us, however, would be back in the same room testing for hours at least once more. But we all made it through. And before we knew it, we were back in Elderton on our last ever first day. Much of this year has passed by at amazingly fast speeds, but at the same time, some days take longer than ever to end. We faced a lot of challenges this year. It was our last year of classes, and no matter how much we wanted to slack off, we knew we had to pass. We had snowball to organize and a giant Eiffel Tower to build, twice. We had senior trips to plan and to sign up for, but none of this could take away from our fun. We were living our last year to the fullest and making as many memories as possible. After all, this was the last time we had with our classmates. We knew nothing was going to stop us. And in our opinion, we've always been one of the best classes to walk these halls, and senior year was to be no exception to that. All the while, our parents have been watching us and guiding us each step of the way. We cannot sit here and pretend that they have nothing to do with today. Their love and guidance has pushed us through all the hard times. Even if they annoy us sometimes, we know they're the reason we made it. Without them, who would have taught us to walk or to say our alphabet? At this time, I would just like to say thank you to my mom and dad. Without you two, I wouldn't be half the person I am today. Thank you, and I love you both. And as much congratulations as we deserve on this day, our parents deserve just as much. They got us here to the most important day of our lives so far, and from this point on, they'll still be there to support us, but it's our time to live. This brings me back to where we sit today. We've made it through the challenges high school has for us, and we're about to start out on the next great adventure. Instead of being safe and secure inside the walls of Elderton High School, we'll be off in the real world, living our lives. We may think we know everything, but I know we're just starting to learn. The road may be hard at times, but we're all strong enough to make it through. All we can do is take what we've learned so far and go bravely into the world. Don't fear failure. It's a natural occurrence. Instead, embrace the chances you'll have and learn from your mistakes. Whether you're going off to college or to start work after high school, I leave you with this. If it makes you smile, dream it. If it makes you feel more alive, do it. And if it makes your world larger, live it. Congratulations, thank you for the memories, and good luck to every one of you.
Most of you know, when you write a paper, no matter if it's a research paper, a narrative essay, or as in this case, a graduation speech, the first thing you do is organize your thoughts into a common theme. So when I sat down to write my speech, I thought of a variety of different themes. There was, of course, the traditional themes of living life for all it's worth, you're bound to make mistakes, money isn't everything, what the future holds, always continue learning, and the most important thing in life is to be happy. Basically, all things we've heard a time or two before. So I chose the one that sounded good at the time. I wrote about the future and all the possibilities it holds for each of us. But something wasn't right. There was something missing. It took me a lot of editing, rearranging, a 11 sheets of paper and at least 4 hours to figure out that those traditional and common themes just weren't going to cut it for this class. While they are all very important messages within those themes, especially for high school seniors, those themes, they are also ordinary. And if you know the class of 2008, as being here, I'm sure most of you do, you know we are anything but ordinary. Jim Rohn once said, "Success is doing ordinary things extraordinarily well." The class sitting before all of you is outstanding. We are talented and fun. We are unpredictable and random. We are special and unique, and we are extraordinary. Not only as a class, but individually as well. With that said, I feel it's safe to say that I do not think that each of us will be successful. I do not think we can all do ordinary things extraordinarily well. I do not think. I am sure. I am sure that we can. I am sure we will do wonderful things. In whatever way, I know we will all be successful. Teaching a student the ABCs, or how to read, or algebra, or music, giving someone a shot, saving someone's life, listening to others, helping people, raising a family, predicting the weather, using medicine or technology to change the world, and so much more. Those are just a few of the ways we will be extraordinary. Those are the ways we can change the world. Now, seniors, we are as close as we can get to being finished with high school without actually being finished. So I think now would be a good moment to reflect on some memories and to remember a few things we'll miss about EHS. The first thing that comes to mind is the people. The underclassmen, the teachers, the faculty, the administration, anyone who has made an impact on your life, because I'm not sure that it's possible to graduate high school without having that happen at least once. Then there's the school events, assemblies, sports, field trips, senior seminar, snowball, prom, the class trip, and there's also the events that aren't supposed to happen in school, like senior skip day, filling the office entrance with balloons, balls, and other random objects, and cooking breakfast in the parking lot. Then there's popping bottle caps at lunch, Fred's hair, $20, the Aqua Eiffel Tower, Mrs. Lorgan singing, belly buttons, taking Washi's new car keys, which by the way, Washi, that wasn't me. The Plashabaw, Washapaws, and of course, free hugs Thursday. And speaking of Washapaws and free hugs, Mr. Washi, could you please join us at the podium?
It was only 3 years ago. We were freshmen, and Mr. Washabaw was the new weird teacher in the corner of the science hall. Little did we know that over the next 3 years, he would teach us a lot of things, not only physics and chemistry. He would teach us that no matter how far back in the bus Gary is, they can still hear his voice in the front of the bus. He taught us the best things to watch while we're in Chicago. And he also taught us, most importantly, if all else fails, to just wing that motor. And so, on behalf of the class of 2008, we would like to present this gift, not to a teacher or to an advisor, but to a friend, to a mentor, and to that man you could go to every Thursday for a hug, free of charge.
Congratulations to the class of 2008. And now, by the authority vested in me by the Armstrong Board of Education and the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, I accept each individual named in the official printed program as graduates of Elderton High School, class of 2008.
Congratulations, class of 2008.
Before I came to IUP, I had no idea what college would be like or what role I would play or where I'd be in the future. But when I came to IUP, everything changed. I met people who really made me feel like I belonged. I had great classes at a great nationally ranked university. Hi, my name is Megan Miller. I'm a fine arts major, and this is my university.
Good evening, honored guests, Ford City High School faculty, parents and friends, and you, the graduating class of 2008. It is an honor to address you today. I've got a feeling we're not in Kansas anymore. Just like Dorothy in The Wizard of Oz, this night is the turning point in the security that has been our high school experience. Our first time outside of Kansas came in September 2002 as we left the security of our elementary school or our Catholic school. We left behind hopscotch on the playground, tetherball, kickball in the park, and stepped onto the yellow brick road. Like Kansas, Ford City is secluded from the rest of the world that lies past our front doors. We need to travel over the rainbow to see what else the world has to offer. Our journey into Technicolor Oz began with our first steps into the kindergarten classroom. From crying so hard that the teacher had to rock us in the rocking chair, to the infamous ABC songs, to a few of the boys pelting the girls with torpedo Batman toys, we made some friends along the way and continued down the educational path. We worked our way from kindergarten through 6th grade, playing midget football, competing in checkers and jacks, and ice skating with paper plates on the cafeteria floor. Then the big change came. No more recess. Our teachers began to prepare us for junior high and the life we were heading toward sooner than we liked. Graduating from elementary school was a scary experience. It felt as though a tornado of fear and doubt had uprooted us from the life and friends we had known for 7 years and tossed us into a fantasy world filled with bigger lockers, intimidating seniors, unfamiliar teachers, and above all, no recess. I attended the Catholic school and had a class of 12 with one teacher. Coming to the high school with 8 different classes filled with over 20 students and 8 different teachers was nerve-wracking. I am sure we all felt like Dorothy once she discovered how many munchkins there actually were in Munchkin Land. Each munchkin is unique in dress, hairstyle, color of clothing, and personality, as we also discovered about our new classmates. Just as Dorothy's curiosity got the best of her, ours did as well, and we took our first steps into the fantasy world. As we started down our yellow brick road with excitement and enthusiasm, we encountered friends who would forever change our lives. Friends who would gladly share their Dippin' Dots when we dropped yours all over the ground at Kennywood, or friends to share movie nights and basketball games. Dorothy's travels led her right to the Scarecrow, her most beloved of all friends. Before Dorothy arrives, the Scarecrow is complacent with his simple, easygoing life. He hangs on the wooden post, not a care in the world, but prides himself in his important role of trying to keep the cornfield free of crows. Like the Scarecrow, some of us are content with the lives we have led in Ford City. However, after making new friends, as the Scarecrow does, some of us will decide to take an enormous step and explore the world outside of Ford City. Taking the next step. What are we going to do with our lives? We have each gone through different processes to decide which direction this next step will lead us in our grand adventure. Whether we found guidance from a guidance counselor, explored college campuses on our own, conversed with recruiters, sought help through family, friends, and relatives, or found a mentor within a teacher, as I did with Mr. Wicker, we still found our own paths. Through this guidance, the next direction was chosen, and off we skipped down the yellow brick road with our trusted companions right by our side. Just as Dorothy makes the Scarecrow realize that there is more to life than just sitting around scaring crows, our friends urged us to explore and try new options. We all have missing pieces in the puzzle of who we are to become. For the Scarecrow, this missing piece was his brain. Each of our brains are something different, whether it be more knowledge we are seeking, or the opportunity to take a break and discover the real you.
From black and white to Technicolor. Here we are, almost 13 years after starting kindergarten, and we're still hitched up to that same pole, rusted in the same spot, fearful of what is outside our own little world. Well, somebody's about to drop a house on our high school world. We're about to break free from our home of 13 years and the monochromatic life we've been living, where decisions are either all black or all white, like Northeast Kansas in The Wizard of Oz. The name of the house closing in fast, graduation. Graduation is typically a time for reflection of the choices you've made, and a time to look ahead to what decisions you will make in the future. Looking back, the Tin Man within each of us, searching for a heart, seems to be shouting for some attention. He needn't go on his journey all the way to the Wizard, if only he could have spoken to one of you. Having some of the best football and girls basketball teams Ford City has ever seen, the dedication of the members of our sports team is impressive. Finishing the regular season with the first undefeated football team at FCHS in decades, thrashing each rival from top to bottomest, is a feat we can all be proud of. Volleyball, band, chorus, baseball, boys basketball, golf, the newly formed hockey team. Every activity within Ford City had more commitment attached from the class of 2008 than anyone could have expected during our 6 years here. Along the same lines, it took a lot of heart for the whizzes in Quiz Bowl, Math League, and Science Olympiad to trek to their various competitions and come out gracefully after somehow consistently scoring near the bottom of the pack. The Envirothon team, by some miracle, or merely by Nick Craven and Sarah Clinton-Smith's soil and wildlife know-how, advanced to states, only to be put in their place by 56 of the 66 participating teams. Ignoring the black and white of defeat, the students involved catch glimpses of light in the situation. Glimpses beyond the rainbow. Brought together as a cheering section for our classmates at any competition, we would be sure to root for and applaud our team louder than any other. Sure, it may have been obnoxious to all the other schools, but as long as we Sabres were having fun, nothing mattered. Speaking of putting all of our energy into having fun with no clear results, I'm pretty sure that this year, for every 1 hour we spent doing schoolwork, there were at least another 2 plotting on how to get out of applying ourselves. Like some of our Lenape Elementary excursions into the basement during 6th grade recess, pushing classmates around on carts, exploring the mysterious tunnels, and rummaging through boxes. Sure, our time could have been spent doing things other than pining for an end to work, but I wouldn't have traded this time spent with my classmates this year, not even for productivity. Although sometimes showing your heart off to the world is something done by accident with no clear purpose, there are also times when just doing what you feel is right can make worlds of difference to someone else. When one of our retiring teachers, Mrs. Lipsky, needed hours of work put into her yard a few years ago and just didn't have the means to do it, we went to her house, doing whatever needed done. When Leo Club asked for participation in Earth Day to clean up the parks and trails of Ford City, the advisors needed not go searching for volunteers. When a friend was sick or a family was going through a tough time, you sat at their bedsides and gave as much consolation as you had in your hearts, and then some. Yes, you've certainly got the heart. That's apparent from these past years. But you have the nerve, now at the brink of the ending of high school, when it's needed the most. Moving along our life's journey and evading the potholes we'll often find throughout the yellow brick roads of Ford City, we think that we're going to be needing more courage than what is ahead in ourselves at this time. Eventually, we encounter the cowardly lion and realize that all the courage we have ever needed is already inside of us. But what exactly is the courage that the cowardly lion searches for throughout the Wizard of Oz, and where can we find it? Is it the ability to overcome change? Some of us prepared for that at Lenape Elementary at the end of 6th grade. Not very well, I might add. When the song Graduation by Vitamin C came on, and was played at the end of our last day of school, everybody seemed to be crying. Now you can deny it now, but you know who you are. We knew that most of us would be seeing each other next year at FCHS, but it was the ending of an era that started in kindergarten, around the same time when Aaliyah and Letitia were wrongfully crowned readathon champions. That certificate belonged to me, and you both know it. We had never been apart from our teachers and atmosphere of Lenape Elementary for more than one summer at a time. And though the thought of being the big kids at the high school instead of munchkins in the elementary school was enticing, we were no doubt shaking in our Nikes. Here's another situation where we just didn't look at the larger picture. Instead of looking at the technicolor future ahead of us, we were stuck in the moment. Who could blame us though? High school is pretty rough. After all, high school is where the Lenape kids and the Catholic school kids merge together. A seemingly scary thought to begin with, but after 6 years, we're no longer from the Catholic school or elementary school. We're just Ford City Sabres. On the other hand, is the nerve the lion seeks the courage to take risks. If that's the case, there are a few girls sitting in front of you that took the chance to go paint the cannon several weeks ago and were foiled in their attempt, only to be taken into the police station. A group of boys intent on doing the same thing got by with no citations whatsoever. Taking these risks, we always balance the threat of failure with the joy of success. I think if you would follow around the class of 08 for a day or two, you'd find that the risks are taken more often than not. Like when one of our powder puff players last year went the extra mile against her opponent and came out of the ordeal with a broken nose. This is why we are either the best or worst at whatever we as a class do. There isn't much of an in-between area because we usually will not accept anything but an absolute. From football triumphs to quiz bowl catastrophes, there is no medium for us. I think we'd agree that there are bits of courage in everything we do though. And now, to partially quote the line from The Wizard of Oz, courage. What makes the class of 08 so brave? Courage. What gives them so many brainwaves? Courage.
I do hereby certify that these members of the class of 2008 have fulfilled all state and local requirements entitling them to a high school diploma. The Ford City Senior High School class of 2008 is now graduating. Congratulations.
The duty and the honor of the outgoing senior class president to lead his classmates through graduation and the recessional. And now, it is with pride and a sense of accomplishment that each member of the Ford City High School graduating class of 2008 reaches up and moves the tassel from the right to the left, letting the world know we are ready to commence from here and take our place in the world of tomorrow.